in nature. So I mean, if someone wants to go through it, they can go through it and come back with questions. So I'm starting off with this slide, which is the where IDQ stands in the market. So as we were discussing, if you see here in the recent times, Informatica, because of its reusable components and the way they are supporting the customers and all, it has reached into #1 slot. So IDQ would be in good demand at least for the next 4-5 years, is whatever you say. So this is how the all the data quality tools are placed according to the Gartner report. And then can you guys go on mute? If you have questions, then you can unmute yourself. Okay. And the next slide talks about the data quality tools overview. Like basically, Informatica provides us 2 tools. One is Informatica Developer, which is a Tek client, and nothing but you install the client software on your system, and then you connect to the server and you start working with the tool. And the other tool is the Analyst tool, which is a web-based tool. So you don't need to install anything for that. You just need to have a URL, user ID login, and you can log in and you can work on that. So we will be covering these 2 tools as part of the curriculum. Okay. And then going to the next slide is about the architecture. So it's more or less like a Power Center architecture. For people who have knowledge on Power Center architecture, it's almost same. So if you see, there is a console from where an admin would be able to monitor all the services, and these are the Power Center services and different components. And this section is the IDQ section. So if you see here, you have analyst service, which will help you to do run the analyst, Informatica analyst, and you have the profile service, which helps you to run the data profiling, and you have the mapping service, which helps you to do develop the mappings and all. So this is how the architecture is there. So this is mainly for the admin person, like who wants to know in and out of how Informatica architecture is there, so that whenever there's an issue, they would be able to kind of help us out. Okay. And then moving to the next slide is about the capabilities. So for someone who is new to data quality and IDQ and what is it all about. So at a broad level, these are the capabilities. So one is data profiling. So you'll be able to do data profiling, which is identification of data issues and all. And then data cleansing, which you would be able to do data cleansing depending on the different rules from the customer. And then data parsing, that is like splitting the data into multiple columns. Like for example, a full name into different columns like prefix, suffix, first name, middle name, last name, like that. And you can do data standardization. For example, you can standardize unit of measurement. For example, ml dot to ml or cm dot to cm, something like that. In a similar way, it all depends on the reference data. So if you are able to build the reference data, then you will be able to you'll be able to standardize anything. Okay. And then about the address validation. So this is one of the key features of any data quality tool. So we use address doctor reference files to standardize and enrich the data. So IDQ supports all the data for all the countries, but again, for major countries, it has data at the building level. That means all the buildings that are present in that country, right? It has data at that level. But for some countries like India or some upcoming developing countries, they don't have data at the unit level. They have data at the street level. So maximum, it might be able to enrich only street information. It might not be able to correct your building number. But whereas if you take US, UK, or Australia and all, it would be able to even correct your building number if at all you missed out some information on that. Okay. And then about match merge. So it supports match merge. So it supports fuzzy match, it supports exact match, and it also has another feature called identity match. So once you identify the match record, basically you would want to consolidate them. That is, you want to identify the survivor record. So it also has the capabilities to do the merging or consolidation. So at a broad level, these are the capabilities of IDQ. And then what are the key IDQ components which we generally use all through this course? One is Maplet. So Maplet is a reusable routine. So it doesn't have that intelligence to read from a file or write to a file. It is just like a function. It expects some parameters and it runs some bit of transformation on the incoming data and it generates the output. In a similar way, mapping is nothing but it reads data from source systems or a file, and it does some transformations, and it writes data to a file or a system, or it be a table or something. Then what is transformation? So in Maplet and mapping, we were discussing that we would apply some data quality rules, right? So that is what is transformation. So you are reading data. So before writing data to your target system, you want to implement some rules on the data, be it cleansing rules or standardization rules or deduplication rules or be it anything. So those are nothing but we achieve those implementation of rules using transformation. So we would see what all transformations IDQ has, and then we would cover most of them. So one good thing for Power Center users is there are some transformations that are already there in Power Center. So for them, it would be kind of easy to pick up some of the transformations. And rest of the transformations are pure data quality transformations. So we would also look into that. Okay. And also we have a concept called a reference file. So what is a reference file? It's nothing but you can consider it as a lookup file. So you can create a reference file in IDQ if you have the data in a class file. For example, like 2 columns, standard data, non-standard data. So you can create a reference file using that data set, and you can take the help of reference file to standardize, cleanse, parse, and all these things. Just give me a second. Okay, yeah, I'm back. So, okay, yeah, so these are the things which we discussed in class 1. So, I mean, you guys might have gone through the video, whatever it is. Any questions till this particular point of thing?
Yeah, no.
Okay, thanks.
Can you say once again that reference file?
Okay, fine. So reference file is nothing but this is a concept in IDQ. Okay. If you ask me from a Power Center perspective or from a database perspective, it is as simple as a lookup file. It is nothing different. In the backend, it works as a lookup file, but from IDQ terminology point of view, they say it as a reference file. Okay. So you can create it from a flat file. For example, if you have data in a flat file, you can create it in IDQ. So once you create it as a reference table or reference file, you would be using it for various activities, be it standardization or cleansing or parsing.
Yeah, okay. That giving like expressions and
not expressions. For example, as we were discussing, unit of measurement. Okay, if I have to write centimeter in my data, I can write. I mean, someone can write as cm, someone can write as centimeter, someone can write as cm dot. Okay. But if I want to standardize all these things into one standard representation, I will have this data in my reference file. Okay. What is the non-standard? Cm dot, centimeter, and cm. What is the standard? Cm, cm, cm. So against these 3 entries, I am putting a standard entry called cm, cm, cm. Okay. So when you create this reference file, you use this reference file to standardize all the cm dot, centimeter dot, and cm to cm. Okay. So we will, yeah, this is just an introduction. So we will see each of these components in detail in the upcoming classes. So this is just an introduction of what is that IDQ supports, or what are the capabilities of IDQ and all these things.
Yeah. Okay.
So moving to the next concept is what data profiling. So before we jump into data profiling, I just want to show you different types of data quality engagement, so that you would understand what is the real importance of data profiling. Because most of us, we take data profiling in a lighter manner, but that is where a lot of customers or clients would be interested in. So let's see what are the different types of data quality projects you might encounter or you might execute. Okay. So type 1. Type 1 is nothing but data quality assessment or data profiling. So what is this all about? So a customer will come to the service provider asking that I don't know what is the quality of my data. I don't know how good is my data. I don't know how bad is my data. I really don't have any idea what is my data about. Okay. Then you would ask us to do a data quality assessment or data profiling exercise. Okay. So what we would do, we would take data from different source systems. We would take the help of IDQ and Informatica analysts to run the data profiling and prepare the profiling reports in a PPT and then share it with customer. Okay. So that is the end of the project. There is really no, I mean, you might get future engagements, but logically speaking, that is the end of the project. Okay. All customer wants is to understand the quality of their data. Okay. So you do the data profiling, you prepare the reports, you give your analysis, and then you're done. Your project is over. Okay. This is one type of project. Okay. And type 2. Type 2 is where your customer wants just a one-time data cleansing. Okay. Customer wants to migrate data from probably 4-5 different source systems to another new system. Probably anything of that sort. Okay. But at the same time, he has no idea of how good is his data. Okay. So what he would do is, we would do a data profiling exercise. We would identify the issues, and from that issues, we would build the cleansing rules after discussion with customer, and then we would apply all those cleansing rules on this one-time data cleansing activity. Okay, so this is type 2. So where you're doing a profiling and then identifying the business tools or the cleansing rules and then doing the data cleansing. So you're done with it. So type 2 is also over. So now what is type 3? So type 3 is what you're building a completely new system where you want to build a real-time services using IDQ. Okay, so data might be coming through some front-end application. So the data will be consumed by this real-time service, which will cleanse and augment and all these things, and then it will put the data probably in a target system or an MDM or some, or it could also forward it again to the application. Okay, so this is a real-time service, but again the same story. Customer is not. Okay, so my voice is audible.
Yeah, it's breaking intermittently. That's why voice is breaking.
Okay. Okay. Probably we'll continue for another 1 minute. We'll see if it's a network issue or what is that.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So type 3 is about real-time services. So as we were discussing, it is about building a real-time service. So even in this scenario, customer is not aware of the data quality issues. So what he would suggest is like, let's go with the data profiling exercise and then do the real-time implementation. Okay. And then type 4 and 5 is nothing but repetition of type 2 and 3, where we are excluding data profiling. So in type 4 and type 5, customer is already aware of the data quality issues. Okay. He's living with those issues every day. So he doesn't want us to do any data profiling and understand the issues. So that is where we directly go with requirement gathering from customer, and we directly take up type 4 and type 5. But in all the type 1, type 2, and type 3, the initial phase would be data profiling. Only after data profiling, the requirements gathering phase will start. And once the requirements gathering is done, then we would start the implementation of the data quality project. So these are the data profiling plays very important role in the whole data quality life cycle. So any questions on this particular note?
Yeah, actually, data profiling is the analyzing the data, right?
Yes.
The meaning of data
You're
profiling.
right. Yes, you're right. So data profiling is nothing but analyzing the data and identifying the data quality issues. For example, phone number. Yes. For example, phone number column is null. That means there are customers. There's customer data which does not have phone numbers populated. So you don't want to migrate that data to your warehouse or whatever it is. So you don't want to migrate it to the target. So what you would do is you would take the help of some other source system data to augment or to enrich the data.
Okay.
So basically the point is it will help you to understand what is wrong with your data so that you can build those cleansing rules, okay, and you can take up the data quality project. So that is the reason of having a data profiling exercise.
Okay.
Okay. So any further questions on why we need data profiling or where it comes? All these questions, because this is one question which most of the interviewers ask the candidates, why you need data profiling or what you do in data profiling and or how you do data profiling and all these things.
Okay.
Okay. So then, assuming there are no questions, so we will jump into what is data profiling, what is that we try to do in data profiling, and all. And then tomorrow's class, we will have an overview of IDK tool, and then we would see how to do data profiling there and how to extract the reports and everything. We will look into that in tomorrow's class. So for the timing, we will see what is data profiling here.
Okay.
Okay. So what is data profiling? Okay. So this slide has a lot of information. So this talks about what is data profiling. Okay. So if you see the definition there, it says it's a methodological approach to identify the issues in the data. Okay. So I mean, you can identify issues even looking into the data, right? I mean, you can open it in a spreadsheet or you can write some queries and look into the data issues. But why you need a methodological approach? Because it saves your time, and you also can reuse the approach for the next source data sets. Okay. So this is about data profiling. So when you say data profiling and when you say identifying the issues, you should have a particular direction, right? If you don't have a direction and if you're traveling all the way, we may not reach the destination, right? So that is the reason we should have some target in our minds and we should drive accordingly, right? So if you see, these 6 are the data quality dimensions. Okay. So this is one of the key things which an interviewer asks the candidate. They will ask you what are the different dimensions or what is that you're going to measure as part of data profiling. Okay. So these are the different dimensions: completeness, conformity, consistency, accuracy, duplicate, and address validity. We will see one by one what is that each attribute about. Okay. Completeness. So completeness is nothing but getting to know if data is populated in your fields or not. For example, in address line 1, how many records have address line 1 information? Okay. If it is your customer data, what it tells you is how many customers does not have address, or how many customers does not have phone number, or how many customers does not have email ID. Okay. So all these parameters are at the column level. Okay. For example, out of 100 records in a given column, how many are null? We will see into that. We will see the reports and everything in the upcoming slides. So this is just an overview or definition of what is data completeness. Okay. Then conformity. So what is conformity? Conformity is nothing but there are some defined patterns for columns. Okay. For example, telephone number in India, like mobile number has a pattern, has a format, right? 10 digits. In a similar way, mobile number in USA has a format, or a landline number in the USA has a format, be it area code followed by country code followed by area code followed by city code, something like that. Okay. In a similar way, a postal code. Postal code for each of the countries have different formats. Okay. So what you're trying to do as part of data conformity is you're trying to check if your data is adhering to those patterns, those standards. Okay. So what is the use of just checking if the data is adhering to standards? So it will help you to understand if your data is inaccurate. For example, if phone number in India is 10 digits and if you have data coming in probably 9 digits, okay, then you might understand that, okay, something is missing there in that 9-digit mobile number. Either you might want to add a 0 at the beginning or 0 at the end to make it 10 digits. Okay, or you might want to go back to some other master data to correct the data. So these are the further course of action. Okay, then consistency. So consistency also plays a key role. For example, in matching, in data matching, if you want to match the data and if the data is inconsistent, for example, if you see here, ABC Limited and ABC Ltd. Okay, ideally both the records are representing the same entity, that is ABC Limited as a company. But because of the typo or because of the way the data is coming from multiple systems and all, the data is like this. Okay, in one record it is limited, in one record it is Ltd. Okay, ideally you want to standardize this data. You want to make already all Ltd to limited or vice versa. Okay, in a similar way you will have so many consistency issues. For example, if you have a country column, okay, some records coming from one system has country as USA. Some other records coming from another system has country as United States. Okay, and some other data is coming from other system which has country as United States of America. Okay, so these are the inconsistent data. So you always want to standardize the data so that tomorrow as part of matching or something, right, it will help you to have the proper data. Okay, then moving to accuracy. So accuracy is nothing but you're trying to identify how accurate is your data. Okay, so for example, date of birth is in 2000, for example, and I mean, let's say, I'll give you my real-time experience. So we were working for one of the customers in US. So who does all these activities, like basically if a person dies, all those rest of the rituals, right? So that is the company all about. Okay, so we were dealing with death data of the customers. Okay, so there was some issue with the data, and date of birth was greater than date of death. Okay, that means a person who was born in 2000, that according to the data, he was born in 2000, but he is already dead in 1998. I mean, these are the data quality issues, right? So, I mean, it could be system issue or it could be whatever it is. So this will help you to understand how accurate is your data. Okay. Or you might have data in mobile number column with only length 3 or 4 digits. Okay, so that is inaccurate phone number for you because you will never reach out to the person on that number, right? You cannot reach out. So in a similar way, duplicates. Okay, it will help you to understand how many duplicates are there in your data. Okay, you can do fuzzy match. You can do exact match and all this. In a similar way, address validity. So okay, out of your address data, it will help you to understand how good is your address information. Okay, how many addresses are reachable and all these things. So these are the main components. Actually, you have around 13 to 14 different data quality dimensions. but in general, we consider these 6 dimensions when we do data profiling for any customer. Okay. So any questions on this slide? There's a lot of stuff I know, so we can discuss probably for the next 5 minutes on this slide.
Actually, the completeness and conformity is look like same, right?
No. For example, for example, the same mobile number example I'll take. Okay. In India, we have the standard of 10 digits, right?
Okay.
Okay. For a given record, data is already present.
Okay.
Okay. For that completeness check will be okay because data is already there. I'm not bothered what is the data present in the column.
Okay.
I'm just trying to understand if data is there or not. It's as simple as that. I'm not worried what is that data is there. What is the data that is present? Is it correct or bad or good or what? I'm not bothered. I mean, in this particular dimension, I'm not bothered if what is about the data. I'm just bothered if the data is there or not.
Okay. Okay. It's null or not.
It's null or not. It's as simple as that. But conformity, we are trying to check. Okay, the data is there. That's fine. But what is that? Is it conforming to some pattern or not?
Okay.
So, okay, let me explain with another example where is completeness comes into picture. Okay, you want to migrate data from let's say 3 systems. You want to migrate data from 3 source systems to one target system. Okay, so let's say there's a column called customer ID. Okay, which is coming from all the 3 systems, and you want to migrate that along with other columns to target. Okay. In target system, customer ID is mandatory column. It's a not null column. Okay. So if you don't do data profiling on the source data coming from all the 3 systems, and if there are null values in data that is coming from that 3 systems, so your job or your load will fail for that record, because in target you are mentioning it as not null, but in your source you are not getting the data. You got the point? So that is how completeness will, that is how completeness will play a key role in any project. Okay. So these are the different dimensions. So when we do data profiling, we would try to get the statistics and our analysis with respect to these dimensions.
Okay.
But again, this is the list. But some customers might say, I don't want to do address validation. I don't want to do data duplicacy or duplicate identification. I just want to know what is my completeness, conformity, consistency, and accuracy. So then you will present the report only on those 4 dimensions. Okay. Or some customers say, I want all the 6. Okay. And there is another dimension which is relationship analysis. Okay. Nothing but primary key foreign key analysis. Like identifying the orphan records. Okay, if there is a master table and if there is a child table, you will do the relationship analysis to understand how many orphans are there, or how many vice versa, how many parents are there without children, or how many children are there, children are there without a parent, orphan record. So they might also come back with that kind of analysis. Okay, or some customers might want us to do primary key analysis. Okay. For example, on a given table, they don't know what is the primary key. Okay. So they might ask us to kind of do a primary key analysis in order to identify the primary key. It could be single column or composite column.
Okay.
Okay. So these are the different things we generally do as part of data profiling.
Okay.
Any other questions on this slide?
Right now, no. Later I will be
Okay,
asking.
that's not a problem. Okay, so on this slide, you would be able to see some attachments here, right? So with respect to each of this dimension, we will see what is that present in this Excel sheet. Okay, and this is opening data completeness. Okay, it's as simple as this. Okay, what is your column name? Okay. What are the total number of records? So obviously total number of records will be same across all the columns because it is a file or a table, right? So for example, it is 7015 for all the columns, right? So how many nulls are there? What is the null percentage? And what is the completeness percentage? So here if you see, you have, okay, I think this is, okay, this calculation is wrong. Just ignore it. Okay, I think it's 100 minus that. Okay. This should be incompleteness. Okay. So you understood, right? So for each of the columns, so how many records you have, how many null records you have, what is the null percent, and completeness percent is nothing but 100 minus this. Okay, so this is your completeness percentage. So, so if you see, I mean, like you can always go back to customer saying that my WM number, it looks like this is the primary key or this is the identifier. So you can always say I don't have nulls in this data, so that is fine. Okay, but again we will see some data. Okay, if you see this, okay, address line 1. So this is customer data. So address line 1 information is missing for 37 customers. You have 37 null records. Okay, so you take this input and you might want to build a requirement on it. Okay, saying that 37 customers don't have address. So what should I do? Should I take help of some other master data to populate it? I mean, as part of data migration. So should I populate it or should I go and correct back in the source system? Or what is that I want to do? Okay, in a similar way, could be company name. If you see, company name has nulls. Okay, so like that. So, for example, if company names have nulls, so then what would I do? Probably with the help of email ID, I would try to identify company name. So, for example, at the rate of like let's say Microsoft.com. Okay. Then you might say, okay, this is his official email ID, so I would be able to identify his company as Microsoft. Okay, so that could be one of your requirements. So in a similar way, based on these results, you will identify different requirements from customers. So this is one kind of a report completeness. So you would be able to extract this from the tool. So all you would need to do is kind of little bit formatting and kind of if you want to derive anything like completeness percentage, all these things, you would be able to do it. That's not a problem. And then you will present it to the customer in a PPT. We will see how to present in a PPT later. Okay. Then confirm meeting. I will just pick some good examples. Okay. Okay. So if you see, this is for Spain data. Okay. So IDQ will help you to derive the pattern. Okay. 9 is nothing but the digit. Okay. A is nothing but alphabet. For example, for a given value of 10,000, the pattern will be 5 nines because it's all 5 digits. Right. For a given value of Madrid, the pattern is all A's. A for alphabet. Okay. So what is that you're trying to understand out of this analysis? So you know that for Spain, the standard postal code pattern is 5 digits or 9999. Okay. So from your analysis, now you understood that 66.8% of your data is following the correct pattern. Okay. But in rest of the cases, it's not following. Okay, what to do in those cases? We have to take individual things. For example, Madrid. In postal code, you have some entry called Madrid, which is again a wrong entry. Okay.
Okay.
So if you see here, you have data with 4 digits. So you might want to add a digit in the beginning or at the end. There could be some leading zero or trailing zero, which might have got truncated because of the system issue or whatever it is. So you will try to do something here. Okay. So these are, you identify the pattern for each of the columns, and then you would present your analysis in a spreadsheet. Again, these patterns you will be directly able to get it from tools, this one, which I highlighted now. So as a developer, as a person who is doing data profiling, all you have to do is write this analysis. Okay. So and not only this, actually, profiling will help you to understand how is the data when you build the data quality mapping. We will see how we do that in the later stage. So these are, you identify the conformity. So conformity is nothing but you define a pattern. So you will try to understand what is that how many records are added to that pattern in that data. It's as simple as that. And then consistency, as we were discussing, same entity getting represented in multiple ways. If you see here, Roy Anderson Corp is one record, and again Roy Anderson Corp dot is another record.
Okay.
So now you have a requirement here from this analysis. Now we have a requirement here saying that I should standardize all corp to corp dot. Okay. Or if you see here, all FLA and FLA dot, right? All FLA to FLA dot. Okay, you see here, all INC, and here you have INC dot. So whichever is standard representation. If customer comes back and say, I want to have all INC and INC dot, then you will do the standardization in that way. Okay, and this is one good example. Road, Manhattan Road. Here you have Manhattan RD. Both of the representations are good. Nothing wrong in that. But it's good to have one standard representation, right? So you would do some standardization exercise on this. So these are, you identify different inconsistencies in your data. So most of the times we do only for name column, name and city and state and country. So most of the times we end up doing consistency checks only on these columns, because the rest of the stuff we really are not bothered, because these are key columns on which we want to maintain data in a consistent way. See, I mean, just we can take up this example. So you have two records, one with Ironworks INC, and the second record with Ironworks INC dot. Okay. So let's say this data is present in your warehouse. Okay. And this is your financial data. So you want to build up a roll-up report. Now you just want to understand how much business you have done from with Ironworks Inc. But when you do a roll-up reporting, these two records will not go into one roll-up report. These two records will go to different roll-up reports because the name is different. So let's say in ideal world you have done two deals with Ironworks. Okay, one of 50 million, the other of 50 million. So you want to do a roll-up report. So ideally in that roll-up report you should get 100 million against Ironworks. But because of this inconsistent data, you will get two different entries in your roll-up report. One for Ironworks Inc., the other for Ironworks Inc. dot. So then you are actually missing the information, right? I mean, your reporting team would be struggling to build the report, which your CFO, CEO, or whoever it is will analyze the report, but they are not getting the actual content. They are getting a wrong message. So this is where consistency of names would play a lot of importance. This is one real-time example.
Okay.
So this is about data consistency, and then we will jump into accuracy. Okay, for example, you see accuracy issue. Presence of special character hash in name one. Okay, if you click on that, name one. Okay, this is the data that is present in name column for the customer data. So if you see, ideally names will never have hash, right? But if you see, you found some hash in your data. So what could be the requirement out of this analysis is you might want to remove the hash from the data. I mean, customer might come back with that. For example, you see in name you have care of. For example, Kodak United care of ABC. Blue Steel care of ABC. Okay. So what would be your requirement here is customer will come back saying I don't want anything after care of. So let's say if I implement that cleansing rule, output would be something like this. Okay. So I am basically cleansing the name data. So if I implement that rule, output would be something like this. So let's say the rule is to remove data after care of symbol. So customer was never aware of this kind of data. Your profiling exercise helps him to understand that you have records with this kind of an issue. So then he will come back and say, boss, I mean, my data is messed up, please clean it up. So the rule you are going to implement is this, remove data after care of, and the output will be this. So you would develop a mapping or a maplet to implement this rule. It will be able to do it. So these of profiling will help you to gather your requirements, because especially with respect to data quality engagement, if you don't understand your data, if you don't live with your data, you would never be in a position to have a proper data in your warehouse or MDM or whatever, whichever system it is. So that is the reason data profiling exercise will help you to live with your data. It will help you to understand what is happening in your data. It will help you to get a feel of your data. What is your data about, how it is, or another. For example, let's say this care of data is coming from system A, source system A. Okay, so there might be a requirement from customer to source system A. Okay, so there might be a requirement from customer to his implementation partner saying that I'm getting this kind of data from source system A, so kindly have a check on the application level. Okay, so at the application level, don't allow care of symbol. So if I write Kodak United, it will accept. But if I write Kodak United care of ABC, it will probably not allow you to submit the form. Okay, so these are some things which are the action items. So it all depends upon the direction of the customer. If he wants to do one-time cleansing, as I was explaining, we will do this kind of cleansing implementing this tool. Or if he wants to fix it at the source system level, he will fix it at the source application level. Anything, it's up to him. So as a analyst or as a developer, our job is to profile and help him to understand what are the issues. Okay, so this is how we basically take the stats out of the tool, and we would prepare Excel sheets and presentations and all. So any questions on this section?
No.
Okay, then we will move to the next slide. Okay, let's say that we have done data profiling, we filled out data and everything. But what generally happens is you present this report to customer, and I mean basically an IT person or a business person. So he wants to get some budget approval from the CEO or CFO or whatever it is to implement this data cleansing project. So a CFO or a CEO or whoever it is, he would never be interested in going through all his Excel spreadsheets, right? Because it's a waste of time, and all he wants is a graphical way of understanding the issue. So that is where you prepare these kind of reports. Okay. For example, this is for address validation. This thing. Okay. It is a pie chart which explains how many of your addresses are good, how many of your addresses are bad, how many of addresses of your data is okay, something of that sort. Okay, or you can build a dashboard, something like this. So what happens is, right, when the customer, when they present this report to their boss, they would not ask him to go through all these spreadsheets. Okay, all they would ask him to is like they'll present this kind of graphical thing, which will help you to understand very fast. And if he's really interested, he would sponsor them for the upcoming activities, be it cleansing or whatever. And also, you can build scorecards of this sort, something like this. For example, for a given market, for each of these dimensions, what are the issues, and what is the overall score? Is it red or yellow or amber or whatever it is? So all these things. So this is something we prepared for one of the customers. So this is not out of the box. So it's okay. It's simple. If somebody knows basic Excel, they will be able to build a very good report. So data developer and analyst will help you to get the statistics. All our job is to put it in a presentable format. So these are the outcomes of data profiling exercise. So we will have a quick walkthrough of a data profiling template. So let's say you have done data profiling, you captured the results and everything, but you should present it in a good format, right? So that customer will be able to understand what are the issues. So this is the template. Okay. So you will set up an agenda which covers what is your approach of profiling. If you have done manual profiling or tool profiling or whatever it is, and each of these sections: completeness, conformity, accuracy, address validation, and overall dashboard. And this is the same slide which we saw in the previous slide deck. So here you will fill out the source system names and some additional details here. For example, completeness. What are the key columns on which you have done completeness check? Okay. Or what are the key columns on which you have done uniqueness check? Something like this. And then if you have any assumptions or limitations or whatever it is, you will put it here. And then profiling rules. So apart from those 5 dimensions, if there are any specific rules from customers, if you see here, there was a requirement from customers to understand if email IDs have @ and dot. So if they don't have @ and dot, they would consider them as inaccurate emails. So this is one specific requirement from customers. Okay. And if there was another requirement from customer saying that length should be minimum 10 and it should be alphabets free. That means phone number should never contain alphabets. Okay. And there was another requirement which says gender should either have M or F or U. It should never, or blank, but it should not have other values. Okay. So this is one kind of a requirement from customer. So basically you would put all this information so that whoever is reading this text will understand what are we trying to do, and then we will straight away jump into completeness as we were discussing. Against each field, what is the null percent, what is the null count, what is the null percentage. Okay, if you want, you can have a bar graph here. Up to you. It all depends on your time of the project and all. If you want to prepare a report in one day, you might not want to add a lot of stuff. If you get data, if you have time from customer for 1 week, then you might want to kind of write more analysis, more graphical way, so that it will be easily consumable. Okay, and then uniqueness. Uniqueness is nothing but like this primary key analysis. For a given column, how many values are unique. So all these statistics you will get from tools. No need to worry. All you need to do is fill it up, write analysis. And then conformity. So as we were discussing earlier, right? If you see this slide, this is for postal code data. So there are different. These are different postal code formats that we got from tool. So all the non-conforming things we have highlighted in a different color, and all the conforming things we have put it in normal color, and we generated a graph from Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so these are you present it, you write your inference here and all, and then data accuracy. The similar way, you will continue further, and then at the end, you might want to have a single slide which talks about all the consolidated issues, like how much issues you have in data completeness, how much issues you have in conformity, consistency, and all. So that's it. This is how you prepare the report and you present it to customer. So, I mean, a lot of labor, manual work, but this is what is the real interesting part of a data quality engagement. Because, right, I mean, getting a rule from customer and implementing it, right, any person can do. It's very easy, right? But understanding the data and identifying the issues, this is where actually customer would appreciate the person, and this is where you get to interact with a lot of people, be it business teams or IT teams from customer end, and also you'll be able to understand and you'll be able to get a lot of information on their source system, like how their source systems are operating and all this. So I think that's it for today. We can discuss on this 3 slides further down. And also, I got a question from one of the attendees saying that what other data profiling tools we have. So all the major data quality vendors have data profiling tools. For example, SAS Data Flux, they have an inbuilt data profiling tool, and IDQ, we have a data profiling tool, and IBM, we have IBM Information Analyzer, which is a data quality data profiling tool, and we also have Trillium, which is a data quality and a data profiling tool, and also we have SAP BODS, again same. So all these things. So these are the licensed tools. So apart from this, we have some free software. If you really want to get your hands dirty, you can download it. It's very easy. You can try Atacama, ATACAMA, Atacama. So you can just go to their website and you can download the tool. All you need to have is a source file having 4 or 5 or 6 records in it, and you can configure that file within their tool, and you can run data profiling, and you can just understand what is the data profiling outcome and all these things.
Okay.
And I mean, in terms of data quality jobs, okay, you have 2 different types of jobs at a higher level. One is you work with the hello, you're able to listen?
Hello. Yeah,
hello?
the voice is breaking, that's why. Hello,
okay.
Can you come again?
Okay, so which part of this thing, about the tools or about the jobs?
A job.
Okay, so in general, we have 2 different types of jobs. Okay, one is like you basically get recruited by a service company, and you work on the technical side, that is building the data quality solutions and all, and you work with different customers. That is the routine job. But you also have the other type of job where you work with the customer. That is, customer will recruit you. For example, let's say AIG, American International Group, which is an insurance firm. So they would recruit you. So all your job, daily job is you run data profiling, you analyze issues, and then you present the reports to the IT team. Basically, you work on the business end. So you will be considered as a techno-functional guy. That is, you have the functional knowledge of data profiling and all, and at the same time, you have the technical knowledge of how to run the profiling or how to build the reports and all this. So that is one good job. I mean, if a person wants to stick to a company for longer time frame and just settle down, that is kind of a job. And it's like you will have teams, right? Every company these days decides about outsourcing these implementations to different vendors. They also have internal teams whose job is to kind of monitor the data. So in some of the companies, they call these roles as data stewards. So who would monitor their data every day. And in some of the companies, they call them as a data quality manager or an analyst or whatever it is. So their job is to monitor their quality of the data using this profiling and all these things.
Okay.
So as I was telling you, completeness plays a key role in a data quality implementation. So you go for any interview across the globe, be it on-site, offshore. I mean, they would give a lot of priority to the person who knows all these things. Okay, if you attend an interview and you say I don't know data profiling, I just know how to build a maplet and run it and give it. I mean, any person in this world can do, right? I mean, it's very easy. But data quality is really different when you consider other skills. So, for example, data warehousing, it's like if you know what is schemas and all, and source system information and some knowledge on ETL tool, you'll be able to build. But unlike in data quality and MDM implementation, you should have a lot of business knowledge. Okay, so that business knowledge, okay, that's fine. If you don't have that knowledge, you would gain the knowledge when you interact with business teams and IT teams. But the point I would like to stress here is, unlike other technologies, this is not a tool-based process. You should also have a lot of subject knowledge, subject matter.
Okay.
So that is where data profiling plays a key role. And so it is good to have, and also it is in demand. So that is the reason I thought first we'll start off with this, and tomorrow we can have a demo of how to configure a file in IDQ and how to run data profiling and how to see the results, how to export the results. And probably day after tomorrow we can start off with the transformations, like water transformations we have in IDQ and how to configure them and all. We can slowly start off. But I understand in the initial two days we have a lot of theoretical stuff, but it's very important to have all this stuff in mind, because most of your interview, right? At least 40% of your questions will be on this theoretical stuff, and the rest 60 would be on your tool-based stuff.
What is the difference between the MDM and the data quality?
For example, the MDM is master data management, where your whole intention of having MDM is to maintain the golden record. Okay, maintain the master data. So, if, for example, in MDM you have the concept of workflows. Okay, or for example, in MDM, when you merge two records, you can track the history of those records. Okay, tomorrow, like let's say you have merged these two records, over a period of time, after 1 month, you want to unmerge them, you can go back and unmerge them, because you have maintained the history of the record. But whereas in in data quality, you don't have that concept. You identify the matches and then you merge them, that's it. And the data will be loaded into target. You don't have a mechanism to unmerge them, or you don't have a mechanism to track them. Okay.
So you don't save any history and go back and...
No, we don't save any history. So it's as simple as the ETL tool, right? So you're taking data from some system, you're doing some transformations, you're loading it in some place. So, I mean, it's as simple, right? Even in ETL, we don't maintain the history of the record, right? Those data might contain some other data, you are transforming it using different transformations, but you're never maintaining any history there.
Right.
Similar way. So if you ask me, the major differences are, one is the workflows, which will help you to track the record changes, and also workflows will help you to have the authentication. I will explain you now, probably in the next 2 minutes, what is workflow. And the other one is this match, merge, unmerge, and all these things. Okay. So coming to workflows, for example, let's consider a product company. They want to launch a new product. Okay. So they want to create a new record in their database, which would be visible on the application. It's as simple as that. Okay. So in a product company, there would be multiple teams, be it sales team, designing team, or whatever it is. So what you would do is, if you, let's say MDM is your starting point, okay, point of creation of record. So you would create a record saying that product A you don't know the price because you're just you're just from the marketing team or whatever it is. You create the record, and then you attach that record in a workflow. So you will design a workflow in such a way that that record will go to the next team. So that team will add the price, and then it will go to the next higher level for the approval, and then it will be displayed on the screen on the application. Okay, this is kind of a workflow. So these kind of workflows, right? These are present in MDM. So most and also, right, that is standardization and all, right. Most of the things generally we customers prefer in data quality tools. So they consider MDM as only a target system. Most of them, okay. Either they consider the system, MDM as either a point of creation, that is, you create the record there, or they consider it as a target. So when you load the record there, you would try to see if the record is already there. If it is already there, you will merge it and all this. That is, you will do it there. But all the cleansing and standardization happens in data quality.
Okay. So the product company said you could be treated as a source system that where we create the product. And
Yes.
What is target? How do we consider it as a target?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
No, I understood that the source part where the MDM where we create the master data
Yes.
for a product company. You said that it can be treated as a as a target also.
Okay. I mean, when I say target, it's like intermediate target. For example, you have data that is coming from multiple systems. You are doing the data cleansing exercise. You are loading the data into MDM. So from MDM, there could be some other applications that would be reading data from MDM. Okay.
Okay.
So that is what we consider it.
Oh, so we can feed to MDM also from data quality.
Yes.
That's what you.
Yeah. So once the data is there in MDM, you have this concept of services which are out of the box. So you can expose those services. For example, if it is customer data MDM, you have a service called get customer. Okay. All you need to do is just enter the customer ID. It will pull that customer information for you on the screen. Okay.
Okay.
So in the backend, you will be actually using MDM, and you will be using the get customer function. It will give you the customer data. So MDM is helping you to host golden data or proper data, and also it is helping you to as a source or whatever you call for this application.
Got it. Okay. There are
Please go ahead.
Yeah, altogether they're used for two different purposes, right? It's not.
Yes. And I think one more question from Samantha, which is which tool is powerful, IDQ or IBM InfoSphere? I mean, it's two different tools, right? IDQ is the data quality tool, and InfoSphere is the MDM tool. So you can never compare like that. And in most of the implementations, when you have an MDM implementation, 99.9% of the cases, you will also have data quality implementation. Okay, so all the data quality things will be done in data quality tool, and then MDM will just post the data. And another question, Informatica identity resolution and IDQ same? No. Informatica identity resolution is a function in Informatica MDM, okay, which will help you to do a matching exercise. Okay. But in IDQ, apart from matching, you are also doing a lot of stuff, be it profiling or cleansing or standardization, right? So IIR, that is Informatica Identity Resolution, is used in IDQ, but you can never say IDQ and IIR are same. IDQ has a lot other capabilities apart from identity resolution. Okay, so any more questions? Okay, so assuming no more questions, so we will wind up for today. So tomorrow we would plan like this. We would log into analysts and developer. We will have a quick overview of these two tools, and then we would try to read data from a flat file, and then we would try to do data profiling, and then we would see how to export the data from there and all this. Okay, then thank you. I'm ending the session now.
Thank you.